evening. Welcome to Reference Point. I'm your host, Dave Cokerhook, and thank you for being with us this evening. Tonight we've got what I think is going to be a very fascinating and interesting discussion. I've got several gentlemen here, all of which are in the auto repair business. And I found that this is a whole area that when I was growing up, I used to know what to do with a car because back in the the 60s, they were pretty easy to work with and you could tinker yourself. But today, it's a lot different. And we're going to have some interesting discussion, I think, and talk about some things that hopefully are going to be useful to you folks out there in the viewing audience. And with me this evening are a number of gentlemen. First, I'd like to introduce Dave Kusa. Dave is the owner of Auto Trend Diagnostics in Campbell. Dave, welcome to the show. Pleasure, nice to have you here. Next to him is Cliff Greenman, who is actually a returning guest. Cliff was on one of our earlier shows where we talked about the Green Business Program here in the Bay Area. And Cliff is the general manager at European Auto Works in Mountain View. And then on my left, I get to move over this side, Jim Payne, who is the owner of the Driving Machine, which is in Cupertino. Is that correct, Jim?
That's correct, yes.
And Larry Moore of Larry's Auto Works in Mountain View. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here. We very much appreciate that you chose to come on the show tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Now, one of the first things I want to talk about was something that you had mentioned to me when we met last week. We had a chance to sit down and talk a little bit. And it was a little bit about the association, what is the association?
Automotive Service Councils of California.
There you go, the Automotive Service Councils of California. And it was intriguing to me that there is an association like this, for one thing. But secondly, that it doesn't appear to be as, there are a lot more auto repair shops than are actually members of the association. Is that a fair statement?
That's true. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolute fact.
So tell us a little bit about the association, Larry.
Well, the association's been around for about 60 years now. It was actually started back when a bunch of shop owners got together and realized that probably if they got together and talked, they could learn some things from each other and do a better job for the consumer.
Okay.
And so they formed an association, and it now is statewide. There's I believe there's about 30 chapters in 30 different areas of the state. This area has one of the larger memberships. The shops in this area tend to be, I've been all over the state, and the consumer locally is very lucky because there's a much higher percentage of what I consider to be higher quality shops in the area here, and that we have more members as a result of that.
So what would you say the purpose of the association is?
Purpose of the association is their mission really is to assure that the motorist gets a high quality dollar value, high value for what they do. There's a code of ethics that in order to join the association you have to sign and agree to abide by those code of ethics. And the code of ethics is specifically designed to make sure that a shop approaches the job properly, addresses the job, talks to the consumer, informs them, and makes sure that they get good value for their dollar.
Cool. It sounds like the kind of thing that you'd want to have in a way of an association, at least from a consumer perspective, to have some, I don't know, it's not really an oversight body, but just some organization that members of the industry gravitate to. And I like the idea of the code of ethics and everything, because when you're out there as a Joe consumer like me and you go into a place, especially when you're new in town and you're looking for some place, it can be kind of interesting. So the association, does it have some kind of set of standards, I guess, that you have to meet?
Right.
And so if again, as a normal consumer, if I'm looking to determine where's a good place for me to take my car, I'm new to the area or something like that, or my mechanic retired, can I go to them, or where would I go to find a good place to take my car? Mike, what do you think?
Dave, I think that a good place to start is a member, ASCCA associated shop is a good member that it can be found on the website. Another good way to find a good quality shop is perhaps a neighbor or a coworker, family member that can refer you to a shop that they've had good success with and been very happy with. A number of us are AAA approved shops, Diamond certified shops. There are other associations that do the same type of certifying or assuring that there is some quality in the companies that you're dealing with. So any of those I think would be good places to start. Also ASE, which is a testing organization that tests and certifies automotive technicians, is something to look for, that shops are employing ASE certified technicians so that we know that our technicians are trained, experienced, and can pass the test to prove it.
Okay, so there's lots of resources for the consumer to go
Definitely,
out there and find
definitely.
someplace. And of course, when you look at what's going on out there, it's almost as if there was a repair shop in every corner anyway. There's that apparency. You go driving down the street and there are repair shops everywhere. So, Jim, when you're looking at something like that, does it make sense? Can you actually go to a place and do an interview like you were going to go interview a dentist or a doctor to see if that was the person that you wanted to do business with? Is that or is the industry open to that sort of thing?
Oh, absolutely. I think that that's a great idea for someone to do, because you want to have comfort with the place where you take your vehicle. It's it's a big investment, and it's something that you certainly want to take good care of and maximize the value. And one of the ways to individuals that care about you, care about the industry, care about your vehicle, and they'll take good care of you. And that's ASCCA. I mean, that's part of what they do. Along with the fact that that this is our life. This is what we've invested our total careers in. We really care about doing an excellent job for everyone. And by all means, talk to them. Ask them any question that you have. Bring any topic up. They should be very happy to talk with you and discuss it and analyze it. And don't be afraid to say what's going on with the vehicle, because it certainly will help make it easier for them to analyze it and get to the heart of the concern quicker and get it resolved and get you back on the road.
Okay. Now, as a consumer who may or may not know much about cars, if I'm going to a shop, I may not be an ASCCA member, right? If I'm asking some questions, I should expect to get straight answers, or what?
Well, you certainly should expect to get straight answers, David, and you should get answers that you can understand. I mean, for some vehicle owners who are, say, enthusiasts, they may have a pretty good understanding of their car and know a lot of the technical terms and things like that, but the typical consumer isn't. So yeah, you should be able to go to a shop, and I think, as Jim said, it's an excellent idea for someone looking for a new shop to go to. Pay them a visit. Go in and chat with them. The shop should have, the first appearance should be one of neatness and cleanliness and order. And the person you talk to at the counter should be able to answer your questions in plain English. That's critical. And what you said about trust, certainly absolutely critical. In this business, if you don't have trust, you don't have anything.
Right.
Yeah, that's vital.
And that's not unique to your industry, your business, but
No,
it's
it's not.
important
It is
in
important.
business in general. If you don't have that level of confidence that you're actually looking out for my best interests, then there's going to be a problem. Then it's like going into a quick lube place. All you want to do is get in, get done, and get out.
Yeah.
Okay, and for a vehicle, that's sometimes.
Yeah. Certainly, leaving a car that may be worth in excess of $50,000 with someone that you don't, at least initially, know that well, is an act of trust, and
Right.
we take that seriously. Good shops take that seriously.
Great. Okay.
So much of what we do is computer controls now, electronic controls of vehicles. So much of that is so advanced that an untrained person can't really understand exactly how it works. So that's where that level of trust comes in, that we have to demonstrate trust and build a relationship with our clients, so that we can assure them that we do know what we're doing and we'll do a good job and spend their money correctly.
Sure. Great.
Yeah, I think there's always two elements. One is the competency there, and that's what a lot of the certifications and the affiliations talk about. The other part is the same part you'd have with a doctor or dentist.
Yeah.
Do I get along well with them? Do I feel comfortable with them? Is there trust there? Do they communicate in a way that allows me to understand what's going on? And so there's two elements. A well-intentioned shop that can't handle the needs of the car isn't going to work any better than somebody who can do the car but is no good at working with the owner.
Right.
There's two parts to it.
Right. And of course, in that type of a situation where you're talking about communication with the customers, you're getting all kinds that come in. You're getting the guy that thinks he knows it all. You smile, okay. You're getting the guy that comes in that knows he knows nothing. You're getting the lady that comes in that is concerned that she's going to get, snowballed. And so you're getting all that kind of stuff. So in your shops, do you guys do you interface directly with your clients, the customers, at the front end, or do you have people that you bring on board to do that, or does it really depend on the shop, or how does that work?
Well, I think it really depends on the shop. My shop is set up and is large enough that we have people who, that's all they do. Their job is to communicate with the customer. And what I tell them is their job is to translate from English to Technese, so the technician gets the proper instructions. And when the technician has looked at the car and has information, they translate from Technese back to English. And that's they are
exactly right.
specialists at being translators.
There you go.
Because there really is two different languages.
Indeed.
There's a shortcut language, a jargon that's used within the industry, and it's necessary in order to communicate and get it across. It doesn't work with a person who doesn't understand that because they feel like somebody's trying to pull something on them or confuse them or in some way talk over them, which a lot of times is not the intention, but it's the way it comes across.
I know exactly what you mean by that. I spent many, many years in the software industry selling computer software products. And you go into a business owner and you start talking about some of these software things, and it's just kind of like, you know, the eyes glaze over and it goes right over your head. And the ability to translate that stuff. So many people get into the three-letter acronym thing or the shortcut verbiage. And I've seen it in every industry. And if you're conscious of that the person that you're talking to doesn't necessarily get it, okay, then you're a step ahead and you're really doing something that's unique and different there. Let's talk a little bit about the what's happening in the industry now, because Dave and Cliff, you guys were mentioning the other day that there's an evolution within the industry, and there's some factors that are occurring that are going to have an impact on the consumer in the not too distant future. I guess so. I forget who it was mentioning the median age of people in the industry right now, and what's you know, is the apparency of there being a shop on every corner a reality, or is what's actually happening, and what is that going to mean both for the consumer and for the technicians over the years here?
Well, the average age in our industry of technicians now, I think, is 47. We have fewer and fewer young people, high school graduates, going into trade schools, and there are a number of them available, but fewer and fewer of that is happening. Statistically speaking, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but one of the ways that our industry monitors is by number of service bays, and that number has been dropping over the years for quite a few years now as well, which means that you know, so there's less availability service-wise and more cars on the road.
A lot more cars.
Yeah. So it's getting to the point where it may be difficult. You know, it's not uncommon for us to be booked out a week and a half for work to be able to get a vehicle in for service or repairs. I think it's incumbent upon us as an industry to help turn that around and bring people into the industry, and also to make our image better, have people realize what a good image we really do have, as opposed to maybe the image that's there, which would also help to bring, I think, more qualified people into the industry. Also, the situation of cars becoming more and more difficult to repair and service because of the advanced electronics and control systems is, I think, scaring some people away.
You mean as far as the technicians?
Technicians, yes, to come into the industry.
So I have just a quick follow-up. If the median age is 47, when are people looking to retire from the profession? I heard a chuckle over here.
Well, it's a tough business. It actually is be a very physically demanding, especially in the old days. It was very physically demanding. So somebody working in the industry much past the age of 50 isn't realistic in a lot of cases. To actually be out in the bays working on the cars, they certainly could take a role on a front counter or something like that, but it's hard work.
So if the median age of the technicians is 47, and they're retiring or stopping doing that kind of work at 50 or thereabouts, that's not a very wide window.
No, exactly.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
So what's that going to do to the supply and demand would dictate that there are going to be fewer people out there to do the work.
Right.
But like you're saying, there are more and more cars on the road.
Absolutely.
And the cars are getting more and more technologically advanced. And of course, then you got the guys that love the old cars, and so you've got the old ones on our California roads and the new ones on our California roads, and we're not getting more people coming into the to the industry. It sounds like a recipe for inflation.
Yeah.
And,
Well, the only mitigating factor has been that today's cars truly are amazing in terms of they need less work. They need less repair, certainly repair. Servicing is a much longer interval than it used to be. But they are more complicated when you do it. It takes a person who is more skilled. One of the misconceptions and one of the reasons I believe we have people not coming into the industry is because something you mentioned earlier, that people's brains are still back in the 60s.
yeah.
You know, a lot of us, I know I got into the business as a self-taught. I knew how to work on cars. I was a car freak. I worked on them, and pretty soon I was fixing other people's cars. And worked my way through college working on cars, and found out I could make more money working on cars coming out of the college than I could doing what I learned in college. And I think it surprises a lot of people. We certainly, you know, our technicians, the median salary is $83,000 a year.
Wow.
These are not people who are low-paid people. They certainly earn the money. At that wage, they earn the money because they also have a toolbox that probably has over $100,000 worth of tools in it. So, you know, yeah, it looks okay at $83,000, and they've, over the years that they've been in the business, invested in $100,000 worth of tools. And in I know probably all our shops, my people are constantly in training. So they're in ongoing education. My people are in about 60 hours a year of ongoing training. So they should get paid.
Sure.
They actually probably should get paid a little more than they do.
$83,000 is not chump change.
It's not
That's
chump
pretty
change,
good.
right.
So training, where do you go to train? Do the manufacturers help you with that? I mean, they're coming out with the cars and the things with the new elements in the vehicles. Do they offer the opportunity for the independent shop owners to get their people trained through some of their resources, or how does that work?
Well, it's pretty difficult. There's a lot. There's good training in the industry. It's just that it's hard to find that good training and hard to get good training. Some of the parts suppliers who have the higher quality parts and the better products will supply trainers that will purchase the programs through the manufacturer, and then they'll train the independents out in the field. And that's something that we all take a tremendous amount of advantage of, is to being able to get that access. There's just the constant ongoing training. The websites are incredible. We're members of the Independent BMW Tech Group, and that's just probably one of the most phenomenal learning tools that's available, and it's all because of the web. It wouldn't be around if it wasn't for the web, and it's real world stuff. So we've got people throughout the globe, so we don't just use our own talent that we've matured over the years and all the guys that are in our organization, but we've got people around the world that experience things that we may not see. We've got people in Alaska and in Florida and England. So if we got a real rainy day and we've got a problem, the guy in England says, "Sure, mate, here's where you go to look for this problem." So we've got a tremendous access to the amount of information is incredible. We all share every day. We have our technicians go on that every day, so they're constantly being training. It just never stops. There's always a training element going on, and always looking for the newest tools to be able to help us access the information in the cars and be able to do a better and quicker job for our clients to make their lives a little bit easier.
And it's actually not something that the manufacturer could train on, because they really don't have the experience or the knowledge on cars that we see. The cars we see in most cases are older than 3 years old.
Sure.
Most of the factory people and the dealer people have been trained on how to work on newer vehicles.
Yeah,
how
they're
to
looking
handle things that were predicted problems that they thought were going to happen.
And they're looking 5 years in the future too. They're creating and developing the cars that we're going to be looking forward to purchasing. So when these cars get to a certain age, that's where we all come into play. We'll take them into the 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. I got a customer with over 400,000. I just sold my 85 with 325,000 on it, and Cliff had one that had a tremendous amount of miles on it. So
Still have it, yeah.
yeah, still has it. So the key is that in that maintenance issue, we can certainly take that car wherever someone wants to go. Only when you're tired of it do you dispose of that vehicle. It's solely your decision, and we'll take it wherever as many miles as you want to put on it, we can get you there.
And the key is maintenance.
The key is maintenance. We're going to talk a lot about that in a few minutes, and actually we're likely to find that I don't think I let the folks know about this, but this subject matter is fairly deep, and so we're really going to end up doing 2 segments of this show, and we're going to lay a little foundational work in this first segment, and then we're going to get into the next segment talking more about the things that I need to think about for my car, and the things that your people need to think about for my car, and that sort of thing. But before we get into that, I wanted to just let everybody know that what we have here is a collection of individuals who have a very broad responsibility for vehicles. And you've got BMWs that you work on, okay? But Dave, your shop works on domestic
and Asian
Asian cars. Yeah. And then Larry, yours works on...
We're domestic, Asian, and American, but primarily just a narrow range within each of them.
Okay, yeah. And then Cliff, you guys do mostly European cars.
European, German cars, and Volvos.
Okay, so we're which covers pretty much everything that anybody might be buying out there, unless they're getting one of the new Chinese cars, right?
Or French, or British.
So the level of appreciation and understanding for what our consumer is going to be dealing with is pretty clear here. Okay, so now we've talked a little bit about the association, the industry in general. Where do you see things headed? I mean, this technological advancement, I guess we want to call it, within the car industry, of putting more and more sophisticated stuff in a car. By the way, do you think we really need all that stuff in the car?
That's a good question.
Most people don't use it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of complexity in the car, and
Yeah.
a lot of things that you'll never, even have the need for under most circumstances. But certainly from the safety standpoint, it's been phenomenal. I mean, the things that we have are just incredible, and it's an excellent. The fact of airbags and the crash sensors and collapsible steering columns and all the things that go on from the very beginning have really made the cars very safe today. And the tremendous flexibility, the dynamic stability control systems, the way that it can balance the car out even for a driver that's not doing too well, anti-lock brake systems. Those are the key things that are really truly benefiting the public without them even knowing about it. These things are just happening behind the scenes and going on. That's the complexity that we all work with daily. We got to go in and interrogate the control units and find out what's happening inside and see which one's having a problem, and it'll shut another one down because it's not reading this piece of information. So we want to get in there and make sure those are all good. But the car is advancing really quickly, but there's a tremendous benefit to that advancement too, along with some things that we probably won't ever use.
You may or may not need, right?
And cars also today, from the standpoint of emissions, are incredibly clean. And I think compared to cars of 20, 30 years ago, the emissions barely measurable, really. Very, very clean, and that's one of the reasons we have cleaner air than we did 20 or 30 years ago.
And that has driven also then the increased gas mileage. I mean,
yes.
The two go hand in hand. Computer controls is really what brought a lot of these things on, and computer controls happened because of legislation. I mean, frankly, I believe that the manufacturers probably would have been very happy to stay with carburetors, whatever, because it was a low cost of production, and they knew how to do them, and it was pretty well down. Because of regulations requiring cleaner air, requiring cleaner tailpipe emissions, and consumers wanting a car that got better gas mileage, the technology has been developed. I mean, the stuff that's in the cars now, the engines, the fuel systems, were things that were thought those were race car things a few years ago.
Sure.
You wouldn't think about having those kind of controls, and they're now in the everyday vehicles that we drive. And the net effect is we have much cleaner running cars and more power for less gas mileage and more miles.
And more complexity.
And more complexity, but Larry's certainly right that I think to some degree the manufacturers have had to been dragged kicking and screaming into building cleaner, more fuel-efficient cars. But it's certainly been a positive thing for everyone.
One of the impacts of this, Dave, I think something you had mentioned to me the other day, is that when a vehicle first comes into the shop now, you don't pop the hood and look around. You plug a computer into
Many
the thing,
times
right?
that's the case, yeah. We're underneath the dash plugging in our diagnostic scan equipment to find out why that warning light's on, and then open the hood from there. So, yeah, that's just one of the many different things now than even 10 years ago on a lot of vehicles.
We actually get to talk to our patients now.
Yeah.
It's a little indirect, but we get to talk to our patients.
Right out of 2001 Space Odyssey.
That's not quite Hal, but
Do they come back at you though?
On occasion,
you're not
they
gonna
do.
shut me down.
Sometimes they have their own mind, that's for sure.
On occasion, they speak a language we don't really think we understand it.
Whether you want to hear it or not.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's wild. So how long have you guys been in the industry? We'll start, Dave.
I've been in the industry 25 years, both as a technician and a shop owner.
Okay, Cliff?
About 6.5 years. I was a customer at European Auto Works since the late 80s.
Okay.
That's when I looked at changing careers. I thought, I have a technical background. I know something about cars. And I over the years, I'd become friends with Ralph, the owner. So I called him up and just to talk to him about the business in general. And he said, hey, I'm a small businessman. Let's talk.
There you go.
It's worked out very well. I love it. I really do. I have a passion for what I do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Jim, how long have you had your shop?
I don't know if I want to go there. 26 years in owning my own business and 37 years in automotive.
Wow.
But Jim started when he was 8.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
Did they have cars back then?
So yeah, it's been a real evolution. It's incredible seeing the changes. For so many years, vehicles didn't change very much at all.
Yeah.
They were pretty much a standardized unit, and they went with carburetors and distributors and points and plugs, and that was pretty much it. And then the computer age came along, and then it got involved in the industry, and of course now it's a whole different world out there with the automobile, and wonderful to know, because it's really tough for techs today to get that real basic knowledge and then be able to just, like icing on the cake, add another level of the technology to it. So it's been an incredible venture, and it's just it's a lot of fun to see the transition in the industry.
I can imagine that from something you just said, that's one of the things that makes it hard for somebody coming into the business now. Because here on our roads in California, we've got cars that are 40 years old or more, and then we've got the new vehicles. So you've got the real high tech stuff, and you got the lower tech stuff, and you have to work on all of them. Okay, and so for the technician to have that breadth of knowledge, that's not easy.
Not at all.
That's a tremendous amount of stuff.
The techs are incredible guys. They're phenomenal in what they can do: hydraulics, physics, electronics, and mechanical engineering. I mean, just these guys need to know pretty much everything about how that vehicle operates, and then layer that together. And now with the add-on of the computer, then you've got one system talking to another, and everything is electronically monitored and/or controlled, from your transmission to your shocks to your brakes to your steering to, everything's drive-by-wire. So when you're stepping on the gas, you're not touching the engine anymore. Right. It's just a rheostat. So this tremendous amount of electronics and transition that's gone into our industry.
Computer-controlled applied physics.
Yeah.
Computer-controlled applied physics. That's a good term. And so, Larry, you've been in the
I've had my shop for 35 years, or it's had me. And for about 5 years before that, I was breaking cars and having to figure out how to fix them.
There you go. And you still do that, probably.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, the techs see one of my cars come, and it's one of Larry's. Here we go.
Cool. Well, that's cool. So tremendous amount of experience in this thing, and you've seen a lot of evolution and change in the industry, as we've already talked about. We've seen the growth of the association, which is really good, and we've seen the infusion of levels of complexity into maintenance of and repair of vehicles. There's a tremendous amount of stuff that's going on here. What we're going to want to cover in the next segment, we're going to want to talk about repairing a vehicle. What are the things that I need to know to take care of my car? What don't I know that I should know? What do I think I know that really is going to be a problem, okay, in terms of taking care of these things? Because I think I'm kind of like the average consumer. I know enough to be dangerous, and yet I've got a vehicle, and it's real important to me that it keeps running on a daily basis. So when we come back to the next segment of Reference Point, we're going to talk more about that. So folks out there in the viewing audience, come back and join us next time on Reference Point, and we'll be with these same gentlemen again. And thanks for being there tonight.